Hey, look at this insane speed and kill rate. With this PvE farm build, you're gonna break every record. Barbarian is still the benchmark for all the other classes in open world and tower. And as Inferno 5 is in our doorsteps, and many of you are already pre-farming and prepare, I brought you a guide to this insane S-tier build. 2k solo tower runs and new loops only available for the fastest of you. Let's go. Okay guys, a basic to begin with. It's about the sprint and the movement speed. So a test here for you. I run with sprint and wrath active with a hidden sprint activated to that dedicated line here. I take 7 seconds. So this is our benchmark, and this is what is important to understand. I am on the warband tree where I get this 6% size. And I did this test with that. So now I switch to the attacker tree. And this is something that is very important. So I'm smaller now. I go with the same activation, sprint, wrath, and do it again. And you will see I'm slower. So size is directly connected to your speed. I don't know why, but it works. So go for the size one. So with this knowledge, we go into the tower now. It's the best activity for PvE to show you how this build works. And we have our skills here, the sprint, Wrath of the Berserker, the demo, and the leap. And this is the basic setup for this build. So let's look into the legendaries. We start with the core items for this build. It's the Lion's Mane and the Heartless Terror. So as shown in a previous video of me for the Hordes build, the Trial of the Hordes, I link you the video in here. We go for the same essences to do a huge AoE attack on all of the enemies. This is our basic skill that grants us a very good kill frequency. Next, and this is very, very important for this specific build, is we go for leap. So many of you might go for the wall now, and this is perfectly fine. There are valid combinations for the wall as well. In my opinion, the helmet is missing, so the helmet for 10% damage bonus for each killed enemy, this is a good one. Or the helmet that brings you another wall to spread your firestorm even more. It's all fine for the whirlwind, but we are missing that one as we go for the Heartless Terror. And the same on the same side, we miss a main hand essence, because we have the Lion's Mane in there. So if you go for the whirl, you have the Bitterwind and the Lion's Mane, then there is no essence for your primary attack anymore. So you miss some damage on primary attack. This is where the leap kicks in. You have the Metal Mine with a 20% damage bonus once you dash. On the other hand, the leap itself has a very cool cooldown, because every hit full life enemy reduces your cooldown on the leap. The leap has a high initial damage, so you just damage burst while leaping into the enemy, then coming to 20% additional damage for your demo and everything. And then we put in the Sellenas Iron, which brings us a cool AoE attack that stands there and kills the yellow or higher mobs. Yellow, purple, red, you name them. And this is how we compensate that missing damage for the wall build. There are good combinations. If you're a high resonance player, anyway you kill everything with the whirl. You can stick with the whirl. It is a bit easier to play, but you will lose some speed, because with the leap you can dash forward and even close some gaps between you and the enemies before going there. Okay, next, of course, a Sundered Legacy. We need our Wrath to burn. And we have a Dishonored Blade in here, which gives us, just for the Awakening bonus, a 10% cooldown reduction, which is nice. There are other essences you might want to use if you lack some damage, if you're not doing enough damage, but I will show you that later on. Otherwise, go for the Dishonored Blade to get the 10% cooldown reduction. And lastly, Hell's Legacy. We want to run, because with the run, the Wrath of the Berserker bonus, the hidden sprint, we are pretty fast. We can leave those fire trails behind us. Together with the burn of the Wrath, we have nice dots for our demo. So, now we have our set complete. We have a free chest essence. We don't use it in here. There's no valid thing. Of course, you could go for Tracker's Rage and go for the charge on the Pants, the Furious Charge instead of the leap. But honestly, the cooldown is just not good enough. You can't use it that frequently. The leap, just because of that full hit enemy cooldown reduction, is just far superior to that. So forget about the chest essence, you won't get anything in addition anyways. Sets are important here. You have two possibilities. First thing, if you do a lot of damage, you should go for 4-piece Banquet and 4-piece Vithus. Because we have our leap with the 20% damage, the Metal Mine, it procs the 4-piece Vithus. And that means you can anyway spam your primary attack when hitting a yellow or higher enemy. But if you're lacking some damage, then go for the 6-piece Banquet and 2-piece Vithus. Because with that, you have a better damage output. Of course, the 6-piece bonus is not permanently up, but as you later on see, we have a Void in there, a Void Spark, and those two are kind of working in a good synergy. They're not always in parallel active, they're overlapping, and you get a permanent good additional dot damage and damage effect on the enemy, which helps you just killing the regular mobs very fast. Honestly, even I prefer the 6-piece solution, but if you're doing high damage, then 4-4 works fine as well. Vithus, of course, is important for our sprint and our Wrath. You need the 2-piece, and 4-piece Banquet is good because we have a high constantly crit chance and another 50% additional damage. For the gems, those are, in my opinion, the 4 most important ones. You want to take anything that does damage, but the Torment, it's a rank 1 gem. It's very cool because you can easily upgrade it to rank 10, so you have an awakening possibility, and it has a very good dot on the enemy once you crit. So with our demo, this really works perfectly. In the demo, you kind of get 2 to 3 additional hits because of the independent crits. You have the Pain Clasp, very important, good damage boost here that is triggered on the demo shout itself. So there's a dot, the dot gets bursted by the demo shout, and then the Pain Clasp in that short time of period is active, so you gain that damage boost. Vipers, of course, every enemy hit gets a dot, very important for this build, and a Void because every dot damage you deal in any way procs that Void Spark. You have a very nice synergy with this build and the Void Spark. So lastly, something you can do if you're not producing enough damage for the yellow or higher mobs, you could go for a 6-piece Lashed. That means the cursed gear where you get those whips, those lashes that puts bleed damage on all of the enemies once you primary attack them. So in this build, normally you don't primary attack that much on enemies. You just run, you burst your demo, you leap, but primary attack is needed then for the higher mobs. So you primary attack them, instantly spam your Leashed, because on a 6-piece you have only 9 seconds cooldown. And then we have, instead of the demo sword that brings us that 10% cooldown reduction, we go now with the Falling Thunder. So Lashed, again, it's bleed damage, so you have that additional 28.5% damage boost while attacking the rare mobs. And of course you have that Leashed, it's I think 24% basic damage attack. So cool damage boost to burn down stronger enemies. So much for the setup of this build. You see I'm running permanently in the tower here. I'm making a full tower run without any preparation of the tower, so no killing white ones before or something. It's just a blank tower. I went in there, and with that high speed and high kill performance, you can really do solo runs that matters. Of course, tower runs should aim for 4k, at least 3k, up to 5k. I think there was a run lately with nearly close to 6k, 5.5 or 5,600 from my clan leader. Very, very nice. So, of course, this is not a good high score. Of course, if you go for this build and a good team, you can really benefit your team and even can push to such high figures. But if you're in a smaller clan, if your clan is not that active, you by yourself can matter in those runs with a solo 2k run or even higher ones. Because think about it, it's not prepared here, that tower. What if I have prepared it? I think it's possible to get up to 3,500 solo run with that build. It's pretty crazy. The magic is to get initially enough time orbs. So when you're preparing it, try to get the red mobs in there, try to get the boss and farm that one first. This now brings us to open world farming. So much speed should be useful for something. So regularly you go for those smaller loops where you can infinitely walk the same circle again and farm your mobs. The speed is faster, so you will have problems with respawning. They are just not respawning fast enough for you. So what you can do now is you can go for the higher goals. You can run bigger circles where you get more mobs, even more experience, and can get the full potential of open world farming. I prepared for you two different loops. The first one is here in the Domination. It's a good long circle around half of the map. When you run it 1-2 times, you will see mobs are pretty easy to reach. They're in your walking ways and get a good potential for the demo because you can just kill 2 or 3 of them by just running by and firing your demo skill. Open world farming is your initial goal now to get the legendaries for Inferno 5. And of course, in the last week before we go to Inferno 5, it's your goal to do it as much as possible to reach the level 1200 pretty fast. So with that, you get enough experience and even more from a regular circle. And of course, your team can still follow you. So that's why it is just very useful to do a good open world farming now. Another farming circle that works pretty good in the Damnation again is over here. We see those little spikes. You have a lot of monsters here, and it's pretty tough to keep up those drakes, those killing drakes. So with that build, of course, even here you can do it. So you can profit from this monster density here and can really get the max XP out of it. I want to shortly highlight another player here, Amazar. Thank you very much for helping me on figuring out that build and yeah, making it a good one for all of the Diablo Immortal Barbarians here. So thank you for watching this video. If you have any questions for that build, if you have any ideas to even more improve it, leave me a note in the comments, contact me on Discord, and see you soon, my friends. Bye bye.